Hello, hello. All by myself. For those of you watching in the future, feel free to mute, skip until Dimitar gets here. But otherwise, you can stare at me. It is too hot today. I am dying as I play around with the colors. If I don't actually know how to do anything development-wise, which is why I use no code. But yeah, welcome to week number 9. Hello, Mr. Dimitar. We are already live.
Yeah,
Holding down by myself, singing beautifully. Okay, let's get started. Welcome to everybody, and now and in the future, to week number 9 of FlutterFlow Live. We're obviously on Thursday, not Wednesday, because of things. It was not possible yesterday. And so we're doing a catch-up because it seems like more people watch these on replay anyway. But hopefully, maybe that's not true today. And even if it is, we are going to be pretending like it's live and answering, predominantly spending a lot of our time. Rather than failing and figuring out how to do stuff, we've actually, and by we, I mean Dimitar, has actually prepared some stuff. I will, while he's showing his thing, to actually...
You will assist me, right?
Pardon?
You will assist me, right?
I will assist you. It's what I'm best at, not doing anything. Except sweating. It's super hot. But yeah, we will be answering some of the top questions, such as how to export your data to a PDF if you want to, how to send email verification links, and also lots and lots of more null safety fun because it's not going anywhere. And I personally spent 2 hours fighting it yesterday before I figured it out.
It's going actually after 1 month, right? After 1 month.
Yeah, I think it's September 7th, 15th, 17th.
Yes.
Numbers.
Yes.
So that's coming up quickly. So you do need to do it. But it's okay. We, and again, I mean Dimitar, will show you how easy it is. And then, yeah, I have some stupid stuff. And we will also do a quick roundup of the news really quick this time because I don't think there is that much, right?
Yeah, but there is some news, so let's not get the Flutter team disappointed about the news, right?
I think it's the only part that people watch. The comment last week. Have you already done the news? Yes. Okay. Well, I'm married then.
I'm off.
I think it's not us they're interested in. It's just what's new in FlutterFlow. So, if you can see my screen, hopefully, bingo.
Yeah, we can.
What's new in FlutterFlow? August 21st, jam-packed. We have drumroll, bar, and pie charts, which I thought we already had.
Yeah, actually, they did that a long time, right? I think 6 months or something like that. They were preparing this, right?
But I thought they already had charts. I swear. Is this different, like fancier charts? This is bar charts, yeah, versus like line. Oh, it was line charts before. No, it was just
they extended.
And now it's bar and pie, so you can look like you are in a corporate office, even though you're no code. I kind of like.
And you can use API codes as well. It says so.
You can populate your chart using a list of Firestore documents, which I assume would be 1 document per bar or per section of a pie chart. Data from a separate numbered list, or you can use a custom function API call. But yeah, but you could. Why wouldn't you be able to use an API call?
Yeah, I have to mention that because most of the times, like for example, the Infinity Scroller, it's working with the Firebase, but it's not working with the API codes. So if I see an API code, I always want to mention it, right? Because I'm an API code guy.
But I think that the Infinity Scroller is like a Firebase. It's because of how Firebase does pagination, right?
That's right. But I think it could be done with an API code. So
yeah, I'm sure there's a pub dev package for it. It's just it would be something different. It would use the actual Flutter widget for scrolling versus the Firebase pagination, which is how I think Infinity Scroller.
Yeah.
Anyway, this one's pretty cool. I know because my designers asked this before. Gradient text. If you want to give a beautiful gradient and pretend like it's 1990 or 1980 in disco era, you can now add gradients to all of your text, I guess. Helps direct your user's attention using pre-built templates. You can create your gradients if you understand how to use the gradients. We should do something on that. I should get John, my designer, to come and teach how to use gradients, because they're cool once you get them to use. But that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, I have to say.
Yeah.
Especially if you're building websites. I think it's a lot really important. Landscape screen says, I didn't know this was not there already. But this is for when you, by default, FlutterFlow apps do not actually lock into portrait. But there is something in the marketplace, the new marketplace. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. One of the most popular things right there right now is actually to do portrait lock, because it's like one in code, so that your app is only in portrait. But now you can also preview it in landscape to see what it is like if someone's waving their phone around, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly.
This one, I swear we talked about this last week, but how to build a live streaming app with Mux.
Exactly.
I haven't tried. Have you tried the Clonable project?
No, I haven't. But it was actually live last week. We talked about it, but now it's officially live. So
now it's a full blog. And I swear they had this blog. Maybe it wasn't an official FlutterFlow one, but there was definitely a blog floating around called
probably
a few months ago. Right. More manual code, whereas this is about as long, I think, as the how to make Uber. But these guys, if you haven't looked at these, by the way, blog.flutterfly.io, there are some really cool ones on here. Definitely check it out. There's lots of cool blogs for how to do some really cool stuff that's above and beyond what we ever come close to showing here. So, and that was a big thing. So yeah, if you want live streaming, for those of you who don't remember, Mux is to do like TikTok, and to allow what used to be called Periscope back in the day, to allow users to have that social features. Side note, if you do have social features, you need to have a ban and report feature for the Apple Store, or your app will not get approved. Bug fixes, test mode not expiring. I thought.
We should actually, sorry about that, but we should actually talk about the Apple thing, because Apple recently changed their app restriction policy or publishing policy, or I don't know what it's called exactly, but they actually want right now people to have an option in your app to be able to delete the profile, because I actually myself, I didn't know if you pushed latest updates to the App Store, but they actually want right now all the people or all the apps that you're building to have a button that you can actually delete the user, which is actually not a bad thing, and I think it's because of GDPR. And you can actually do this pretty easy with using FlutterFlow, and you just need to click on delete user. And I'm not. You are actually the expert of Firebase. If you actually do this, will that delete also the associated documents with that user? Do you know that?
That's the thing. It literally, the last time I tried it, unless they've changed it, the delete user in Firebase literally deletes them from the authentication tab. So essentially, it does not allow them to log in. By default, again, when I last tried it, it didn't even, I don't think, delete their user document.
Okay, so to be honest, this is a problem, because if you are really strict to the Apple restrictions, I think if you delete a user, you should delete everything related to that user, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to spend the next 20 minutes ranting about GDPR and how stupid it is. But yeah, if that's the reason they're doing it, which, I mean, I've had a client, someone's app get flagged for that a while ago. I don't know if it's I don't even know where they publish these things. They seem to change all the time. But yeah, to recap, if you delete a user, from my understanding, it will just delete this. It will not delete their user document. It will not delete any content about it. It will not delete their photos and stuff like that. There is a delete user extension, which you would have to manually install, which is in the Firebase extensions marketplace. Extensions, you have them for Algolia and things like that. There is one in here. I don't know where the fuck where it is, but there used to be at least one called delete user. Maybe they've taken it away because it was such because the question is, how do you even start? Like, again, I don't want to spend 20 minutes on this, but GDPR is a stupid piece of legislation. But if you really mean everything related to that user, which Apple does not check, I almost guarantee, there's no way they could, yeah? That would mean every time that they say they like a post, yeah? and their user reference is in a list for somebody's message, right? In your social media app. When they delete their account, if you're supposed to delete that, which you should, because it can technically identify them, because it's unique to them, if you just even if you have set up a cloud function to go through everything and find all of those user document references and delete them, many parts of your app may now start to break. You'll get spinnies if you had a document for reference, and now it's just like an empty thing. Yeah.
Or there's a solution to that, and I think Facebook did it. Actually, you can only write deleted user or something like that, right? Just change the name of the person in the email and just write deleted user.
But you still have to find every single place where they're, I don't know if I'm doing my Firestore wrong, but like with document references especially, and the fact that Firestore wants you to store data inside of a document rather than referencing out. So a hotel may have reviews, right? And Firestore's help videos tell you store those videos, store those reviews because they're easy. Store them as like a list of strings or whatever inside the hotel document. So you just get one document rather than getting the hotel document and then querying reviews, right? That's in a Firestore video. Now you have to find everyone where they put Joss or Dimitar and go and now change it to deleted user. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying that for me, I will, of course, comply to the full extent of GDPR because everyone's terrified of the £2 million fine. But it's really difficult. And to be honest, Facebook, when you delete your account, they say, like, give us 6 months. So if you do get, for those of you out there, if you do get queried by Apple, and I think that what they really want to see, like the block and report a user, they don't care what happens next. They want to see a button exactly like it's doing it. So yeah, sure, use the Firestore one because that means you're doing something. And then I would say that if you want to be in compliance with GDPR and be a good boy or girl, send the user a letter saying, like, if you want us to delete, it will confirm within 6 months or something like that. Hopefully they won't write back to you. And then
I'm talking about that. Only the reason I'm talking about that is because Apple changed their policy recently. Okay. So yeah, expect more people to have this kind of how to say a behavior or something like that. So you need to actually do this. So this is just
re-register. I don't think they can. If somebody deletes their user and then tries to re-register, they won't be able to re-register with that email address again because there will be a user document for that email.
The thing that I am doing myself is just not enable. So basically what I'm doing is that deleting the name of the person and then changing the email, like a deleted email and some numbers. So when I do that, if the user wants it to register again, it can register because there is not that email because this email was changed. So this is what I was doing because of the reason also that you said that there is a reference to that user and I'm keeping the reference, but it's also saying that this user is deleted. And I think technically I'm not a lawyer or something like that, but I think technically this is okay with the GDPR because you don't know what is this user. You cannot associate it deleted user 45 at the demoemail.com to Josh, for example, right?
But what about, I mean, again, let's not get into this because we're going through Q&A, but we've got instantly sidetracked. But to be honest, with GDPR, in my mind, as someone who flunked out of law school, the best approach is to not screw over your customers, not try to screw over your customers, and to respond to them when they're asking about it, basically, yeah? Because at the end of the day, you're never going to have a complaint or an issue if you don't have a pissed off customer, right? Yeah. So if you're genuinely trying to do the right thing, that's the best way to go. Because if you read GDPR by the letter, if that user, for starters, they uploaded a photo, let's say, right? Or say they uploaded a photo of their house somewhere, right? Yeah. That identifies them now. If they even say, I go to this school, or I go to this school and I live in this city, 2 pieces of information, they've now identified. I know there are like carve outs for if they publicly display it, but if another user, it's just, it doesn't help small startups and innovation. And it doesn't stop misuse of data. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, I can just finally say that Apple wanted to do this for 2 of my apps, and I just added the delete button, and that worked. So yeah.
If you feel like reading a rant about this, I've written like a whole giant page on the community multiple times about this. But I recommend you don't. And instead, we talk about, should we dive straight into some Q&A?
Yeah.
With, I mean, not live Q&A because I think we're here by ourselves, but with which one would you like to start with? I know you sent me a few things.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just you can open make.com because make.com will be our source of
make stuff.
Yes, to make stuff, exactly. So just open the first one and then we can go from there.
What we're going to be starting with.
Yeah, the thing is that you will help me today because I'm on the other computer, and this computer, if I open more than 2 tabs, it will just leave one active tab. So I will lose my live streaming. So, and we have a first comment. So hi,
PDF, right?
Dave.
Export or save? This is a question by Kerzo Venicus. I should know. It's like a German, I guess. German. Sorry, apologies for butchering your name. Hello, I hope you're well. Just wondering how anyone be blah, blah, blah. Is it possible to save? So this is essentially saving data to a PDF for a customer. Is there a package PubDev?
Yeah. So if you open the make.com right now, and if you can log in,
I have one. Even you did not say that I needed an account, but I have one.
I was thinking you had an account, to be honest.
Also, by the way, 30-second tangent. For those of you who know, I love Rowie for its backend. Rowie is good for cloud functions, and they've launched workspaces and team stuff, so you can have multiple projects in the same thing. But I won't. Maybe we'll cover that at the end of it. It's basically like Airtable for Firestore. Check it out. Really cool. And I've lost your make. Really
yeah, you can stop if you want, you can stop the screen sharing, and then you can enable it again.
It would help if I just stopped being ADD and flickering around everywhere. I think I somehow closed it, probably to go to Rowie instead, because that's my.
Or I can try to share my screen, but as I said, I'm not sure if it will work.
I'm on top of it. Don't worry.
Okay.
Back on track.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, the whole idea is make with the make while you are trying to register. Is that you can actually. It's the best thing of all is that it's code free, so it's no code. Hashtag no code.
Zapier, for people who know Zapier, it's a way to take any app, and we don't mean almost any app. So Gmail, Trello, anything to almost anything else. And compared to Zapier, I would say it's much better for FlutterFlow because it allows you to query and write and read Firestore stuff much better.
Exactly. So when you click on the scenarios right now,
a scenario. Sorry, I'm just going to interject a few times. Scenarios, and I create a new scenario.
Yes.
So scenario is any sort of automation you want to run. You get a visual canvas like this where you can add apps and then basically start to link them together, move data, and set up triggers, which I assume is what Dimitar is going to tell me.
Yes, and now if you write Firebase, I think Firebase was it?
Firestore.
Yeah, Firebase Cloud or Firestore. I'm not sure which one is it, how it's written, but probably it's Firebase Cloud.
It's Google Firestore, I think. Google Cloud Storage. Oh, you want Cloud Storage, yeah?
No, I want Firebase. So just write. I think Firebase is okay. Firebase. Yeah, it should be that, right?
This one. It's not nesting. This one. Google Cloud. We were in there. We got it.
It's not this one, right? It should be Firebase, the yellow icon.
No, this is it. That was Firebase messaging. You don't
okay. So the thing is that I'm not sure. Probably now it's not the good time to connect all the dots. But the idea here is that when you actually you can actually connect and watch for a document if the document is changed or not. So in this case, that the person that asked, he was asking if it's possible to actually create a PDF document, and I'm assuming that this data is coming from the Firebase because most of the people are actually using Firebase. But of course, this cannot be Firebase. I mean, this can be anything else. So this can be also an API call. So you can also send an API call to make.com, and you can actually use this API call and then create a PDF. So you can actually show how we can do this also, because this is the one way. One way is to connect the Google Cloud Firestore with Firebase. So you're actually basically connecting make.com with the Firebase, and then using this information to create the PDF. And the other way actually to do this is by going to, let me just check it. What was it exactly? But when you go on the left side, on the left menu, and there is actually, there is called webhooks is the name of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't actually used the new Make. I used the old ugly interface, so I'm a little bit.
Yeah.
So
when you have a webhooks, you can actually webhooks. What is the idea of webhook? So when you have a webhook, this is actually an URL that is provided by Make, and you can actually send data to this URL, and then use this URL and use this in your scenario, and actually get the data from it. So this is actually, so you have basically two options to do this. As I said, the first option is to use Firebase directly and just connect to it. And the second option is to using API calls to actually get the information from an API call. And then when you get the information from an API call, you can actually, if you want, you can just go back to the scenarios and just create a new scenario. And then we can just, I want to just show a demo, like we can do it with the webhook, or we can do it with the probably webhook. If you have a webhook, I think it will be simpler in this way.
I tried to look for it, and I couldn't see it when I searched for webhook.
Yeah, that's what you should supposed to write.
Here you go, webhooks. So
webhooks, exactly.
And a webhook, by the way, for those of you who are not familiar, as Dimitar said, it is a URL. You don't have to host it. They host it. It literally listens constantly. So all it does is exist in life to serve you. And essentially you can, just like going to any web browser, you can send a JSON packet, which is essentially just data from your Firestore, to that URL. And every time a package hits it, it will trigger and it will run whatever steps, which is what Dimitar.
Yeah, this is actually what is instant means, because you have this in purple, you have this text instant. So this is the idea of instant. When you have the instant and you have this icon, like a flashing icon on the left side, that means that this will actually run immediately. So you want that actually when you send API request to Make or to this URL from FlutterFlow, sorry, you actually run this immediately. So when you click OK, I think when you click OK here,
do you want to send some test data? Because normally the way the webhooks work, or at least so I've created this one. It's giving me a URL. Normally what it's doing now is it starts listening, and you can actually send data to it so that it knows what type of data to expect, test data. Do you want me to send you the URL so you can do that, or do you want to just go?
I think for right now, you can just create a new module, and then with this new module you can just write PDF. And then if you write PDF, there are actually a lot of services that you actually use in order to create a PDF. And there is also this PDF generator API also, which you can use, which is actually getting your PDF straight from an API call. So in theory, you can use that, but you can also use some other. There is a lot, like I love PDF, for example.
Yeah,
or someone that you use, like it doesn't.
I've used, and I think I've used PDF Co before, but
okay,
essentially we can pick anyone. I love PDF.
Yeah. So in this I love PDF, I think you can just. I'm not sure if you can actually create, because And I haven't created, but we can use the monkey if you
I
have
think
already used that.
because we need to take in like a raw string value, right?
Yeah, because the idea here is to just and then we can generate a document exactly, and then we have to connect it. But here, it's we cannot connect it right now because you have to make an account and
Everything,
then.
by the way, you have to connect. It is secure. There's always these question marks. Some of them are easier than others. I know it seems like a bollock, and I didn't prepare, I guess, enough for this one, despite what I said. But the instructions are really clear. You're literally just giving a limited access. But yeah, once you connect, you're going to be choosing your account, and then you're going to be able to go through. It is, I don't mean to gloss over it, but it is pretty self-explanatory. As long as it will give you one step at a time. And as long as you understand this flow of essentially FlutterFlow sending data in, it's then going to go to PDF. And then what do you want to do next?
Exactly. And no, actually, after that, after creating the document, you can actually send this document to a you can send the email. You can send to email. You can use your own Gmail, or you can actually store this inside the FlutterBase as well, I think.
Yeah,
so you can
send it back to so as a PDF document, that attach it to the customer, et cetera, et cetera. And again, I would have to link I used to have everything connected, but since they've done this make switch, I apologize. I really thought I would have loads of stuff connected.
But it's okay. I mean, it's really it's not that hard to make it. And here, actually,
this is quite interesting, I think.
Yes, exactly.
Do you want to talk about what this
is? So here the main important thing is that when you have actually a lot of variables that actually you can use from your previous sections or modules in this case. So if you are using, in this case, if we are using the PDF monkey, we can actually put in the subject the app ID, or we can put the file name, or we can put whatever we want to inside the subject. So we can say, for example, here is your invoice, and then put the file name, and then we put the date, for example, and then we have the content. And then we can, inside the content, we can write the date, for example, that was created, and then some metadata that we want to just share with the client, like what is the name of the company, and so on and so forth. So we can do this. And this is actually the same thing, the same idea is actually creating the PDF. So when you have this webhook, the first module, you're actually connecting after that with the monkey PDF, and you're using the data that you are sending to create the PDF. Because in theory, you have to actually send what is the name of the client, right? And then what is the goods, for example, if you're creating a PDF of invoice, for example, because you can create all sorts of PDFs. But yeah, basically you're creating a template, for example, and then you're just filling this data using the webhook or using the Firebase. And then this is actually interesting as well. What I want to actually mention also is the icon between those two that are connecting, and there is this one, the gear icon. So you have actually here, you can set up a filter. Here is that what I wanted to talk about. And here you can make it a label, and then we can filter this. When you, for example, when you creating the PDF, you can actually create a filter and just send the emails to the persons that are evolving with for example, with invoices that are from today, or some other stuff, whatever you need to. You can have this filter and then filter it. So if it stops here on this filter, it will not go on forward to this filter. So this is actually a good thing with the filter. I'm using the filters as well. And the other important thing is that you can actually right click on the module and there is on the right. If you right click on it, I think right click on the module,
I
right?
think I can't because I haven't set it up.
Or maybe the first one. Can you right click on the first one?
What are you trying to do? Run a test?
Yes, exactly. So you can just run this model only. So when you click this run this model only, it will only run this mode. And in this case over here is actually sorry, is actually waiting for someone to send the data, because we have the arrow which we need to send the data. And right now, if you just open this arrow, it will just show you the data, which is actually great for testing purposes, because you can actually test this, and this is great. And
I'm just going to drop a few links, sorry to interrupt, into the chat
yeah,
for future, which is if you're ever working with this kind of stuff. So obviously we've been talking about make.com, but some tools for using with webhooks and stuff. It's two that are free to use, request.bin and then webhook.site. These are great for creating dummy data and sending dummy data, and just being able to, without having to actually press in your app, you can normally pop in your code here and then sort of send a webhook to make sure it's coming through okay and stuff like that. So these, I've dropped those links in the thing, but these are really helpful tools that I would recommend.
yeah. You can also send this from FlutterFlow, right? You can send this from FlutterFlow to test it. And then you can also use some software like Postman or Insomnia. So in my case, I'm using Insomnia, which is actually a great tool, because you can store all your requests that you're sending, get or post or wherever. And then what I wanted to mention also is that here Make is actually free for 1,000 operations. So every module that you have is one operation. And then when you send data to the webhook, for example, in this scenario case, because we have 3 modules that will count for 3 operations. So this is probably not the best thing for when you have a very big projects. But if your app, it's a small app, and I think
if your app
around,
is big, that's a good problem to have. And as you can see in the templates, they have hundreds of examples of what you can do, including some with Google Cloud Firestore. And these really also take you export Google Sheets data to Firestore, import a JSON array to Firestore, export. I've seen lots of these things come up. Back up your Firestore data. These have all been questions that have been asked. Create Firestore document from new MailChimp if you use that. So these will definitely help you get started, because these guides take you really step by step of exactly how to do it. So definitely check those out. Cool.
Yeah, and I wanted to mention also that there is also a free pay plan, of course, and with the pay plan, you are actually receiving the smallest pay plan is actually receiving 10,000 operations and around 5 gigabytes of data every month. So, and it's around, I think it was around 100 euro per year or something like that.
Okay.
So it was not that expensive, and you're actually getting 10 times the amount of the free plan, and you're actually. I'm really. I cannot stress that more, but I'm really suggesting people to actually try this and test this, because
Definitely.
because I prepared like you said, I prepared like 3 questions from the community, and the first one was this: is it possible to create a PDF? And actually, the PDF thing, of course, you can create it with your own backup, right? You can if you have a back server and a code, you can actually send the data and then use your language. In my case, I'll use PHP and then create the PDF myself. But not most of the people. I think most of our audience is no code audience. So that's why I'm just showing those instruments that people can actually use without code. And I think this make.com, it's a very great alternative actually for people making stuff without the code.
I actually have I realized I have 2 Integromat accounts. So to give another example of it where it's actually a little bit more practical. So what this was many, many moons ago when I used Make a lot when FlutterFlow didn't have quite so many amazing features as now. What this is doing is essentially taking a webhook every time a new user is registered via my chatbot. If you've ever watched, I think there's a...
This was actually, sorry to interrupt you, but this is actually the second question from the community. I think is when you... no, it's actually the third question from the community was, is it able to just send the email when a user is registered? So
exactly. So I mean, essentially, what this is doing here, we can run once, maybe leave it. I'll do it. But what you can see here is it's taking the webhook. Oh no, it's actually, I forgot. This actually it goes to randomuser.me, which is a website if you ever need user profile pictures and stuff. And it actually gets a random user. And then it creates them an email inbox with some other service. It then creates a Firestore document in some collection. It creates another Firestore document. Basically all the documents that I needed for that user before I got them started. So I was using this to create fake users for my account. But I mean, you can really see there are 101. I got kind of complicated with some of them. But really, I used it a lot. And some of them had hundreds.
And do you think, sorry to interrupt you, do you think that you can click on create a new scenario and we can show people
yeah, sure.
With the Google Cloud, because if you already connected your Google Cloud,
it hasn't like timed out or something. Let's try. Yeah. Because the coolest thing about this was the watching. So if you use this watch new documents, what this does is every single time a new document is created in the collection you specify. So for instance, input the collection path by drop down. So if I take, let's say, this one or whatever. So I'm going to look for every time something is created in my users collection. This is the start date format. That's fine. Limit. Okay. Now what's going to happen? So that's essentially every time a new user has been created. Now what we want to do is, what was the question? Gmail?
We can send the email. We can just try, Gmail and then send the email. We can try that.
Here we go. So I want to send a welcome to Jube email. And I have something.
And hello to Tarwan.
So what I'm going to do here is the email address I want to do is from, I need to.
No, I don't think, probably the email, it's not catching the email, right?
The collection user must be in the
from the users.
Collection, it's fine. I think I just need to run a test, no?
No, I think is it the users have the email inside the users path?
Users have email, it's fine. So it's watching for new documents. Here we go. So this little white thing pops up, and this shows you what data it got. So it's gone and grabbed my most recent user, who's emailed demo@test.com. Yeah. So this is what has been. This was the most recent Firestore document. So now what I would do is do Gmail. Let's say you could also use Mail, Slurp, anything like that. I want to send an email from my account. The recipient I want to do, just like Dimitar was saying before, you can pick the email right here. So it's going to grab it from that Firestore document. The subject can be welcome to Jube, which is the name of this app. And the content we want to send is, you joined at, and let's say we want to stick in the created time, and your login email is, and then we're going to stick that one in.
And then we can say at the top, we can say hello and his name, right? Or her name, right?
I don't think this user actually has a name. I didn't create that. So, but if I did,
no, you have the name, right? Oh no, this is the name of the path. Okay, I understand.
Don't be a noob. Get a jube. Please catchphrase. And then
Nice.
admin. Cool. And so we would do that. We're not going to send any attachments because they don't have any. Blah blah blah. And I think that's all set up now. Okay button. Cool. And so now if I run it from just here, right? Run this module only.
You can fill. You have to fill the. I think you have to fill the data.
Oh, I should have done it run from this one, right?
Yeah.
Here we go. One. No email. No, I'm going to cheat. I'm just going to create a user. Email demo at live. Oh, that's going to be actually Flutter.
And you're saying that my spelling is bad. Come on, John.
My typing is absolutely atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. So if I run this again, it is not going to be that. What have I done wrong? Oh, because there's no creative tag. Creating manual data always leads to errors. It always seems such a good idea, and then it never works.
Yeah, but I think it's explainable and people got.
Reason team of Flex money. Oh, it's my Gmail is failing.
Yeah, because probably you didn't connect your Gmail or something like that, right?
I have to reauthorize it. Close your eyes. Don't look at my password. Okay, so this is number 2, right? What was number 3? Come on down. Are we also going to solve that with make? This is more like a make tutorial than a FlutterFlow tutorial. Boom. Well, we got our new user, at least, our fake user. And now we have another error. If you want to handle invalid email address and parameter 2. Oh, it's because the actual email address isn't like a valid email address because I suck at typing. It doesn't even have half the shit it's supposed to. All right, let's try and do this actually properly. Ready? Create a done. What's your email address, Dimitar?
What's my email? My email address is like my country, Bulgaria.
Really long, isn't it? I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, I will send it to...
you can just write Bulgaria.
Also send it to mine. Remember there used to be that email thing, get a... well, no, it's phone is Swede. Let's send it to admin@flex.uk. Actually type it right this time. Cool. Now, third time's a charm.
It didn't work again.
Validation for parameters. Bundle validation error. So yeah, as you can tell, it's simple. Have we ever done anything right?
Yeah, I think it's because of the email or something like that, but it should work. And then what you can actually do as well is if you go back from here, if you just click on the back button on the.
I know why it was. It's because I said, look at the date. I said it in the past, so it doesn't do it. Again, don't create manual data, and if you do, use the FlutterFlow CMS. It helps you avoid this kind of thing. All right, I give up. I can't
just
email, but
if you just click on the back button on the top left, there's a and then you can just save it. Just save it.
Do we really?
Yeah. And then you can only click on the history right now. Is what I want to show. Yeah. So when you click on the history, this is actually all the history that you get, and you in this case we have the error. But you can, if you click on the details, you can actually see all the errors. And the most important thing here is that you can see actually all the operations that were used. So this is also very important in this case, because if you want to know what are the operations, how many operations you're using in every case, this is actually a way how you can see this. And here in this case, you can see all the successful, and we have 7 operations used. But yeah, actually, this will work Just the typing was not right or something like that. But
I just can't seem to.
but of course it will work. And then we have we can actually
someone that it was actually a little bit more like, because I remember I have one that has like 56 actions it runs or something.
yeah, and I can actually talk a little bit about this routing thing that
sure.
you could just showed.
Which one? Oh, the green one, right?
Yeah, because the routing thing is actually a very important module as well, because the idea of the routing is to actually have many many modules inside after the first module, for example. So in this case, we can actually have one module and then using the router actually to get multiple modules out of one module, because normally we have one module and then we can connect this one module to another module, and we can have a filter in between. But in this case here, we have a router, and this router is actually allowing us to actually use the whole data from the first module inside all the other modules. So for example, if we create a new user, so we can have this Fire, we have this Fire Cloud storage, and when the user to watch for new users, and then we can have the router, and then this router can create a PDF and just say, for example, this is the invoice that you have to pay, for example, for
order that's created or something like this. Like in this case, what I'm doing again, I'm creating it's a whole bunch of setup stuff, but literally 1, 2, and this one is a 2-step. So I think first it creates something. I don't remember, but it creates something and then it goes on. And you can also use filters here to make sure that things are not breaking on the way. So like if it was completed correctly and stuff like that, there's no limit to the possibilities almost. So definitely, if you ever have roadblocks in FlutterFlow, I think Dimitar was very excited to show you make, and I think there's very good reason that hopefully we have shown you a few reasons in our normal haphazard way about what you can do with it. That was the one we were just doing.
Exactly. So yeah, we have to say hi to Tarwan Isai, because he is in the chat and he said
bravely staying with us and making it through. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it. Cool. What's the next thing on your list?
So we have one question for Nil Safety. I posted a link to you. Yeah, I sent a link to you.
Null Safety. To recap the last time, do you want to give 30 seconds on Null Safety, or shall I?
No, just you can do it.
Null Safety is going to be mandatory in Firebase. You will have to migrate. What Null Safety allows you to do, it's a helpful feature that stops your app from breaking when data that you think should exist at a certain point in time, for instance, a document reference or an integer value, does not exist for whatever reason. Null Safety essentially allows you to put in defaults for what should happen if this document does not exist, this value does not exist, this date does not exist. For instance, if a user hasn't set their birth date yet, so that your whole page doesn't crash. That's what Null Safety does. It's not scary, but you do need to migrate, and there will be a few little errors you will have to fix. But what is this specific question here?
Yeah, so here this Renan Miranda, I hope he or she, I'm not sure, sent this question about the Nil Safety error, that it's actually, as you can see, there are a lot of errors, but actually the main error here is that it's saying that if you have a no, it's trying actually to make a call on the condition that can be no. So here in this example, I'm not sure, to be honest, because he or she didn't mention that if this code was written inside a custom code, but I'm assuming that this code is written inside a custom code.
It's like custom photo widget, home complete widget, page settings widget, edit. It doesn't look like it's custom code necessarily. This one is. It's just lots of things like he's trying to. I can see probably the photo widget. He's like relying on something that hasn't been uploaded, I'm guessing, and stuff like that. No.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, there are two options. One option is to use the custom code and just write this on your own. The other option is to use some kind of package or something like that didn't support the Nil Safety feature. So basically, if you're actually move your project, because all the new projects are already moved to Nil Safety, but if you are using an old project, you have to move your project actually to Nil Safety. And if you are using a package that is not supporting Nil Safety, you can get this error or this type of errors. But if don't actually get upset or don't worry about it, because if this is a custom code, you can actually think about what is the problem here. And as I said on the last thing when we were live, the thing here is that when you have this widget binding that instance, if you see, if you can just look at the code again.
This here?
Yeah. So we have on the last line, we have this widget binding that instance. So here the problem is that this part of the code can be null. So basically, what is saying here is that you cannot have no that addPostFrameCallback, for example.
What
right?
is a widget binding and what is a post frame callback?
So those two are the widget binding is a class in this instance, and at post frame callback is should be method to this class. But here it's saying that if we have the widget binding that instance, if this, for example, it's I don't know, I'll give you just a stupid example. But if this is, for example, an integer and this is 33, for example, then we can say 33 that you can just imagine like that. We can just say 33 that add post frame callback. But if we have a no, we cannot actually have a no and then call a method or a parameter to this to null, right? So this is actually giving this error. And here if you are writing your code yourself, here you can fix this by saying widgets building that instance and then say echo like we did it last time. Then we said 2 question mark and then echo, which means, and then, for example, I don't know, like 33 or whatever. So we have like a backup option if this thing it's no. So in our case here, we should have a backup option in order this to not give an error.
An example of that I just did this morning.
Yeah.
Because it took me a while to figure it out. So what I'm trying to do, the short version of it is essentially I am taking a list of users and I'm trying to combine them. Yeah. So I've got for context, I've got my users collection and then I've got a sub collection in here of like jobs that they have, and that each of those documents has in and of itself a list of document references. And what I basically wanted to do was to get all of the experiences document, all the jobs for a user, and then get all of these tags basically and lift them up into one list. Yeah. But obviously that value could have been null essentially if there were no tags. So in the code here, what Dimitar is talking about, in my case, I handled it with this little exclamation mark here.
Can you zoom it a little bit? And Pablo actually wrote as a question, but I'll just you just finish with your thing and then I'll answer to Pablo.
Who asked the question? There are people?
Yeah. One person.
I think, didn't I try to do this once before? Just smash my computer. But essentially, yeah, okay. I handled it with a little exclamation mark saying basically if it is null. We also talked last week, you can use the if else. But
can you just reopen it? Sorry, because right now it's not saying.
Yeah.
Just reopen the custom function.
I will refresh. But if you wanted to talk about what you were going to talk about before I interrupted you, feel free.
Yeah, so Pablo wrote to us, "Hi, I'm struggling with Null Safety. I have an old project with 25 pages. Could I migrate without writing code? Should I add default values for every attribute I have in every page. So the thing is that, first of all, he should watch our
last week
last week live session, because actually last week we talked around 1 hour, probably less than 1 hour, but we talk about this. So there is a lot of useful information. But here, actually, the most important thing is that you should not people should not think about how many pages they have inside the project, because you can have 1 page or you can have 100 page. That doesn't matter. The important here thing is that how many custom code do you have inside your project, right? Because you could have only one custom code, or for example, one custom widget that you need to migrate. So actually, it doesn't matter how many pages you have. It matters how many custom code you have. And to answer the second part of the question is, can I migrate without writing code? So technically, you can migrate without writing code. There is a button that FlutterFlow did that says migrate or something like that. I don't remember what was the name exactly. The green button that we showed actually last week as well.
Yeah.
That you can click on it.
Here.
Yes, exactly. It's around here, and you can click on it, and you can FlutterFlow will help you to migrate. And I think most of the time it will work good.
And if you do get some errors, again, in the last video we talked kind of in depth, but the biggest thing I would say is that you can always, most often, solve any of the residual issues after the FlutterFlow migration. FlutterFlow will essentially try to help you use null safety. And what that means is that for each, once you migrate, you have a choice for each return value for each argument to set, is it null safe or not? Yeah. If it's true, then you need to be handling default values. If it's false, it essentially leaves it the way it was before the migration. Yeah. When FlutterFlow does your migration, it will mark some things as true, which would mean you would have to somehow in the code sometimes make amendments. It will try again. It will give you guidance. It will try to guess defaults, but there might be some errors. The fastest way normally to get rid of those errors and get your app back to how it was, and it obviously is not the ideal solution, is literally if you set everything to false in every custom function, custom widget, if you set everything to false for nullable for all you will essentially get none of the benefits of null safety, which means your app will still break if there's not data, like the example we were showing earlier. But it is the closest you can get to migrating null safety and having your app almost in the original state, and to give you a little bit more time then to go and work through them one at a time, make it not such a big scary thing, and try to use null safety in the kind of in a good way, I guess, to actually help you, because that's the whole point of it, right? It's not a bad thing.
Exactly. So the whole idea is to actually as I said last time, I would suggest and I would recommend people to spend some time, like 1 hour, 2 hours, or whatever of their time, and actually to put default values from all the, just make it null safety, and then put the default values for every argument that you use in every custom code. So in theory, like in your case that you see that, can you just show your custom code like real quickly?
From the marketplace, because I did it and I commented it as well for this future date thing, which is kind of a simple function, but I did go through everything and do null safe. You can tell me how well I did it. How do I get my own thing? So if you're looking for an example, some of the ones in the marketplace are good places to start. And if I just add this to my project, then you'll be able to see, you can tell me how I did, because I made sure to do it. One thing I will say about null safe is that it's really good for when users actually use your app, because it's very easy to use your app correctly. What null safety, in my experience, is best at helping is when users do things that you don't expect them to, like go back in the middle of an order process and stuff like that. And you will have expected a certain document or a certain value to be there, and it just simply won't be. And that's when your entire app would break. And that's why I say null safe is a good thing, because it helps you. So let's have a look at this one. So in this function, which calculates a future date based on it's 3rd of January, calculate 20 days in advance, I've got a lot of parameters, all of which are nullable, meaning they don't have to be there.
Yeah.
Let's look at the code. So when Dimitar is saying null safety, this part is obviously the boilerplate code. What I've done here is essentially go through and for each of those input parameters, which were minutes, seconds, hours, days. So they're integer values. I am putting equals to 0 plus minutes. This is the input argument. And then this double question mark 0.
Yeah. Or you can actually, I think in theory, you can change that. You can refactor that and you can just write, I think you can just write double question mark. So you have int at minutes and then 2 question mark equal and then minutes. I think if you can just, no, you should double question mark, then equals, double question mark, then equals after that, and then minutes. Yes. So yeah. So if you can just, and then just comment this line. Yeah. So here it's saying what is complaining about.
Expected to find an identifier.
So yeah, in theory this should work, but let me just see the error again, please.
It says expected to find an identifier.
And before that, because I think it's
expected to find this. It's because this is an uninitialized variable. Int minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So we can try with another approach right here. So we can just get back the way it was before. And I'll tell you what we can do.
Forgot my equals.
Yes, and we can try right now deleting the 0 plus part.
0 plus.
Yes, and deleting the what is the name? The brackets, not the brackets. But
parentheses.
Yeah. So basically, this should work as well, because you don't need, in theory, you don't need the first part, the 0 plus part. You don't need it.
There's some reason I put that there. I think it might have been even for the demo to make it so there was. But essentially, yeah, these are doing the same thing. These are making your code null safe. So there is not one right answer, but the essential part is that minutes is a parameter, which I have put into my function. It could not exist because I put null safety to true. That means that I'm telling FlutterFlow this may not always be there. What I'm doing before I use it at the start of my code block, I'm going and I'm saying if it's not there, so whatever I'm using here, I'm setting another new variable add minutes is equal to the argument. And if it's not there, that's what this double question mark says, then just use 0, which means this add minutes will equal 0, or it will equal whatever argument was put into the function.
Exactly. So it's actually, in theory, it's not that hard, to be honest, to put in default values. And as I said, I recommend everyone to just get through their code and put default values, because don't expect actually FlutterFlow to put default values on your own custom code, because this will not happen, right? You cannot, it's not possible, because FlutterFlow cannot know what the default value you will want for every argument.
This example, essentially, these are where these arguments are going in.
Yeah.
So you can see them turning to 0. Again, how null safety, a practical use of how it would help. Essentially, if I didn't have null safety, this page would crash once I deleted these values, essentially, because they would not exist. The function could not, and everything else on this page essentially relies on it. So this function now can still operate even if a user just, for instance, just adds a day. So it actually allows you to provide a better user experience for a user rather than have to have them do that. And again, a lot of times if users go back or the app crashes, they quit, they go to Snapchat, whatever, and come back, null safety really gives you a lot more robustness of your app.
Yeah. So I can just recap what we just talked about today, right? Yeah. So the thing is that we show you today with Josh, and thank you, Josh, for your assistant. But we show you today the make.com. So I'm just really to be honest, I don't pay a lot of services online, but make.com is one of them. And I know we are a FlutterFlow community here, and we are talking about FlutterFlow, and this will stay in the future. But make.com actually, it's a very, very good tool for non-coders, because most of, as I said, I'm assuming that most of the people using FlutterFlow at the end of the day are no coders, people who don't know how to code. And if you have a small project, as I said, if you have a small project like 10,000 operations per month, I think make.com it's a really good solution for most of the things that you need in your app, like sending email when the user is registered, or creating a PDF, for example, or sending an SMS. And there is actually, I'm using Make. I didn't mention that actually today, but I just want to mention that before we go. I'm using actually Make.com for reading SMSs from my Android phone. So they have an application, and actually I'm connecting Make with my Android phone, and for example, whenever there is a missed call from my company, I'm getting a message to my Slack community. We have the Slack, not community, but the Slack company channel. And this is actually a great way, because this is one of the example, because I'm not at the office the whole time. So if you have a missed call and your phone is not with you, you can actually have the message and you can see what is going on. This is one example. And the other example is when you're receiving an SMS, for example, you know that there are a lot of authentication SMSs, like with the bank or wherever. And if you are receiving that and you physically, your phone is not with you, you can actually send this for in my example, again, I'm sending this in my Slack channel. So basically, if I'm not with my phone physically, I still get those authentications SMS, and I can fill them in the website that they're required to. So that's actually a great thing.
About make.com, Dimitar.
Sorry?
I have a question about Make. Really quick. Do you work for them? Is that your company Slack?
No, unfortunately, I don't work for them.
No,
unfortunately, I don't work for them, and unfortunately, they didn't pay for that. But if they are watching this,
get it.
Probably they can support us in the future, right?
Yeah, let's get some free services from Make.com. No, but legitimately, it is really cool. It's one of many cool tools. But it's definitely
no. To be honest, sorry to interrupt, but to be honest, I didn't find another solution for this kind of problem that I'm talking. For example, if your phone is not with you and you're receiving an SMS, to be honest, I don't know any other solution in the internet. Probably this zapping thing, probably it will work. I'm not sure, but yeah, Make, for example, in this case, when you get it's the only solution that I found.
Yeah, I mean, there's push bullet and stuff like that, but yeah, no. In general, Make is just really great for filling in the cracks, and it's a little bit more powerful, I would say. Tiny bit higher learning curve than Zapier, but it definitely, especially for Firestore stuff, they don't even compare. And I tried all the own quick looks and everything. Is definitely the best for Firestore right now. Cool. Shall we wrap up? I got to stop doing almost anything today. Apart from
so it was great actually. I showed you like OpenAI like 2 weeks ago or something like that, or 3 weeks ago. I showed you now make.com. So I promise that in the future we'll stick with FlutterFlow, right?
I gotta up my game, and next week I gotta bring something cool to show and tell. All right, thank you to everyone who's joining us or watching on repeat. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments in the community. There will be lots of stuff going on about Nil Safety, I'm sure. If you have other questions, drop them in the major thread, or don't maybe tag us because we might not see it. But the best thing is post it in the one for like the live stream in the community tutorial. If there are things you would like us to show you, we will continue to get better, and mostly I mean me at preparing things in advance. So these are as helpful as possible. But see you next week.